A courtroom can be an intimidating space. It's big, it's formal, and people are there that you don't know. Testifying in court can be hard, but it is a very important part of our legal process, and your testimony can be a key factor in a trial. To help you be more comfortable with the courtroom environment, let's take a video tour of the courtroom to see what goes on when a trial is taking place. When it's your turn to testify, an investigator with the district attorney's office will call you in from where you've been waiting with the victim witness advocate. The victim witness advocate is an employee of the district attorney's office who will help you understand what to expect during this process by answering your questions and providing support. Oftentimes, they are able to stay with you in the courtroom while you testify. The DA office investigator is very helpful as well before and during the trial to help you and to ensure that the courtroom is a safe place. After you enter the courtroom, you will be called to the witness stand where you will take an oath. This oath is your promise that the information that you give as testimony will be the truth. The person swearing you in is the clerk who assists the judge during trial. As you take your seat in the witness chair, you'll probably notice someone nearby typing or speaking into a machine. This is the court reporter who makes a complete record of everything that is said during a trial. It is important for witnesses testifying to answer questions loudly and clearly. It is important to give verbal answers, not just shrugs or nods. The information taken down by the court reporter is very important and becomes part of the permanent record of the case. Next to the witness chair is the judge's bench. The judge is in charge of the courtroom, runs the trial, and makes certain that all rules are properly followed. Judges also make rulings during the course of the trial on procedural matters and when either the defense or the prosecutor makes any objections to questions being asked. It is important for you to know that one of the attorneys might make an objection and the judge must pause and make a ruling. During this time, you will need to stop talking until instructed to continue. In the center of the courtroom are the tables for the defense and the prosecution. The defense attorney sits at the defense table. It is the job of the defense attorney to make certain that the defendant gets a fair trial. The defense attorney attempts to demonstrate reasonable doubt in the hope of convincing the jury to hand down a not guilty verdict. You may notice and even recognize the person sitting next to the defense attorney. This is the defendant who is charged with a crime. You are either a witness to the crime or a victim of the crime that they are charged in. He will be present throughout the trial, which is her or his legal right. You will be seated far from them. If you are worried about seeing the defendant, let your advocate or the judge know. Sitting across from the defense table is the prosecutor table. You have already met with this attorney as he or she has interviewed you and advised you prior to this day. The prosecutor is with the district attorney's office, and his or her job is to seek justice for the victim or victims in this case. It's the prosecutor's job to present the case on behalf of the state. The prosecutor also protects witnesses like you from being harassed or badgered by the defense attorney. Most cases are tried before a jury. The jurors are those people sitting together on the side in the area called the jury box. The people on the jury are supposed to be impartial. They don't know the participants from either side of the case. They listen carefully to all evidence presented by all of the witnesses called to testify. Once the defense and the prosecution have both rested their cases and given their closing statements, the jury goes into another room to deliberate and discuss the case. It's their job to weigh all of the testimony and evidence. They then decide if the evidence is enough to find the defendant guilty. Their decision is the verdict. Sometimes they find the defendant guilty, and sometimes they give a not guilty verdict. Sometimes if they can't agree unanimously on the verdict, they are hung, and it's possible the case will have to be retried in front of a new jury. In some instances, there are people watching the trial seated behind the rail in the back of the courtroom. They may be people you know, but usually they're not involved with the case. We are here to help you through this process. We know that the judicial process can be confusing and intimidating if you've never been involved in it. Hopefully now that you've seen the courtroom up close, you have a better understanding of what happens during a trial and who the people are in the courtroom. Testifying is not always easy to do, and your participation in this process is definitely important for you.